All right. Set up right quick. Make sure got everything here. Just here. Just a little bit. All right. All right. Almost set up here. Make sure have all my ducks in a row. And here we go. What's up? All right. Thank y'all for tuning into this live. As I say always, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, also, since I'm doing this live on my phone, I won't be able to interact as much. I may or may not see your comments. So if you do see, if you do comment, and if it comes across my screen, only does it for a few seconds, I'll try to acknowledge it the best way that I can. So it's not that I'm ignoring you, it's just that sometimes I may get in the flow of what I'm saying. It may not catch it, and sometimes I may not. So, yeah, man. So anyway, let's just get this started. Yeah, so basically I did a short this morning about the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7, where Miami put an end, and I mean an emphatic end, to any dream that the Boston Celtics may have had at being the first team to come back from 3-0 down in the series. And they almost did. I'll give it to them. They came out smoking, and all of a sudden reality set in by the end of the first quarter. And especially given Jason Tatum's injury, he sprained his ankle in the very first possession of the ball game. It sucks to see that. But then again, if you take into account that Miami has also been without Tyler Hero, as well as Victor Oladipo, that's like several points off the bench right there, then you can't really feel but so sorry for the Boston Celtics. So I'll say this, man. Before we get to the finals and the NBA finals, if you're the Boston Celtics, you got lots of questions. First of all, the most important question is, what do you do about Jaylen Brown? Do you re-sign the young man? Do you bring him back? At what price? Jason Tatum already came out in support of Jaylen Brown, saying that he wants him back, which what a good teammate should say, right? Whether he really feels that way or not. I'll say this, man. Sure, Jaylen Brown technically led them in scoring with 19 points, but he shot 8 of 23 from the field, including 1 of 9 from 3. And also he turned over the ball a whopping 8 times. And for a game like this, where your main superstar, Jason Tatum, would have been hobbled with an ankle injury, that's when if you're Jaylen Brown, that's when it's your time to shine, man. As the second best player on your squad, right? And Jason Tatum did not do it. Jaylen Brown did not do it. I mean, he's been a turnover machine this entire playoffs, especially in this series. And given the fact that he came up shorter than too short in Game 7, I mean, it is what it is. So we all saw what happened. It was ugly. Finished with 5 fouls, as if that doesn't really matter. But yeah, Jaylen Brown came up really, really, really small in the absence of Jason Tatum. So I'll say this, man. If you're Boston, I mean, what choice do you have, really? Right? I mean, sure, Derek White manned up and played like he was really the second best player on the squad, but could you really rely on Derek White being the second best player as a point guard? I don't know. This is what I would do about Boston. I would try to bring him back, definitely. Even though, I know that Jaylen Brown made second team All-Pro, which qualifies him for a huge max extension in terms of $200 million. Excuse me. I don't know. I'll say this: I would start off offering. I wouldn't lowball him. I wouldn't insult the man, but I would start out with. I think Jaylen Brown's qualifies for a $220 million max extension. I would start at a little under $200 million and try to work in the middle from there. That's what I would do if I were the Celtics. Now, where that would take us, where that would take the Celtics, I have no idea. But I would at least start there. But I wouldn't insult the man again, but I would try to bring him back because, again, what other choice do you have? Who on that squad would take the place of Jaylen Brown as far as being the Robin to Jason Tatum's Batman? You don't have any options. They don't have any options. So they got to bring Jaylen Brown back, whether Boston fans may like it or not. And also the next question you got to ask yourselves, if you're a Boston Celtic fan, is, what about rookie head coach Joe Mazzulla? Do you bring him back? Well, Joe Mazzulla signed an extension, I think around the All-Star break, and they were playing good basketball. And I would say this too. Aside from his snide remarks and snarkiness during post games, where he conducts himself like a clown at times, I don't put the poor play necessarily of the team squarely on his shoulders, right? I mean, because like I said before, Jaylen Brown came up small. Marcus Smart came up small. He was only 4-10 from the field, including 1 of 6 from 3. Al Horford only took 8 shots. I mean, that's not on, and Jason Tatum getting hurt, that's not Joe Mazzulla's fault, right? Whether Celtics fans want to blame him or not, it's not square on him. Now, could Joe Mazzulla have seen things better? Yes, of course he could have. But to put this all on Joe Mazzulla is not fair at all, not whatsoever. So I would give Joe Mazzulla at least another couple of years to figure things out. He has a Ferrari. He hasn't driven off in the ditch just yet, right? So just give him time. I don't believe in throwing the baby out with the bathwater so soon. I would just let this season marinate. I mean, after all, really, this is all on Celtics management for getting rid of Ime Udoka early in the season, early in the off season anyway. I mean, because could you imagine the dynamic that would have caused? That may have caused. I mean, they went from one identity to another. And so that was bound to have caused issues. The fact that the Celtics made it this far with a rookie head coach underneath those circumstances was amazing in and of itself. So I would bring back Mazzulla, and I would re-sign Jaylen Brown and see where it goes from there. All right. So this has been painful. This series has been painful. One more thing about the series before we get to the NBA Finals. This series has been painful for me as a New York Knicks fan. Got the hated Boston Celtics and then despise Miami Heat. Because I remember, I'm a man of a certain age, so I remember those playoff series from the 90s as if they were yesterday. With Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, John Starks, Anthony Mason from the New York Knicks side versus Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, Dan Marley, PJ Brown, Pat Riley from the Miami Heat side. And shout out to Jeff Van Gundy, who was on the Knicks side during that time. So I still have bitterness towards the Miami Heat organization, but I have a lot of respect for the Miami Heat organization, one of the best run organizations in sports. And Eric Spoelstra, if he's not the best coach in the NBA by now, if he's not recognized as the best coach in the NBA by now, I don't know what it would take for him to give his flowers. But anyway, the fact that Miami Heat did this, is on this run as an 8th seed, that not only lost its first playing game, but almost lost the second playing game that they were into the Chicago Bulls. They were within 3 minutes or so of losing the second playing game. But nevertheless, they caught fire, Eric Spoelstra just cooked up some magic in the kitchen. Jimmy Butler became playoff Jimmy once again. And it's another dude by the name of Caleb, let get his last name. Caleb Martin came along for the ride, who could have been the Eastern Conference Finals MVP as well. Scored 26 points, but was 28. So all that, Miami Heat did a hell of a job on the run, and it's not over yet. It's not over yet, which takes us to the NBA Finals, right? The Nuggets now, they're huge favorites. They're huge favorites to win the NBA Finals, and I see why. They're minus 360 favorites, which again, like I said, that means they're huge favorites to beat the Miami Heat. They also opened as an 8-point favorite in Game 1 this coming Thursday night. I'll say this: every series, like they say in fights, styles make fights. Well, it's all about matchups as well, right? So if you're the Heat, who do you have that could at least contain Nikola Jokic? I don't know if there's anyone on the roster who can. I don't think Kevin Love is fleet of foot enough to do so. I don't know if Bam Adebayo is big enough to do so as well. I just don't see the Heat figuring out a way to at least neutralize Jokic. Now, I wouldn't put anything past Eric Spoelstra to cook up something. Like I said, he's the best coach in the NBA, hands down. Probably followed by Coach Malone in Denver as well. He's done a hell of a job too. But I just don't see it. And yes, Jamal Murray runs hot and cold. And hell, Jamal Murray won that series against the Lakers, to be honest with you, because the Lakers are knowing who could stop it. I think that the Heat can neutralize Murray. I think Jimmy Butler would be more than up for the task. In addition to being playoff Jimmy on the offensive end, he's a damn good defender. So it wouldn't be the past me to see either him or Caleb Martin trying to neutralize Jamal Murray and offset that. So pretty much will come down to the question of whether Miami could contain Nikola Jokic. From looking at the roster, I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe Highsmith, but I don't think Highsmith is just big enough. He's 6'4". What am I talking about? Because I see him defend other bigger players. So I don't see Cody Zeller doing it. Now I already said that Bam Adebayo is too small to do it. So to me, that's going to be the difference in the series. And as a result, I think that the Nuggets will win this in 6. I know I've been telling myself I shouldn't bet against playoff Jimmy. I shouldn't bet against Eric Spoelstra. I shouldn't bet against Pat Riley in the playoffs. But I hadn't learned my lesson. So I'm going to go with Denver again in 6. Because, again, I do not see anyone on the Heat being able to neutralize Jokic. Excuse me. I don't see it. They'll neutralize Murray. They'll neutralize Jamal Murray. But I don't see anyone on the Heat roster being able to neutralize or at least contain Nikola Jokic. So there you have it, folks. I'll be on the road traveling to Cooperstown starting tomorrow. It's a father-son trip, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll be back here in Cincinnati come Sunday, early Sunday afternoon, hopefully. But I'll be doing shorts here and there. I just won't be doing lives until that time. But hopefully that for the Heat fans' sake, I hope that the Heat do win it. But again, I'm a Knicks fan. It wouldn't hurt my feelings to see the Heat go down in this fashion. So I'm Team Nuggets in this one. So, but anyway, hope y'all enjoyed the live. Please continue to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you do not agree with anything I have to say during this live, because in any event, You be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did. Until next time, 06, take care. Peace out.